Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
Great.
Great? Awesome. Yeah. So, hey, it's a privilege to be the first one, right? Oh, yeah. So, wakey, wakey, everyone. And we're going to talk about how to get into trance. So that's kind of like a conflict, isn't it? Waking up first thing in the day, talking about how to get people back to sleep or whatever, right? So, I was actually not supposed to do this talk, but somebody bailed, and Richard said, hey, you need to cover me. You need to do that one. I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's talk about it. I love to share my knowledge of what I do. So welcome, and hopefully we'll have fun for the next hour. A little bit less, but the next hour. Probably, my question would usually be like, so how many people do hypnosis? Yeah, in this setting, it should be everyone, right? Otherwise, you took a wrong turn coming up the escalator. I'm pretty sure about that. I'll get back to that in a moment. So he said, so what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Let's talk about the most basic thing we can do when it comes to hypnosis, the induction. And I know, it's all a competition out there, isn't it? I got the fastest one. I got the most brilliant one. Hey, I got one that lasts 45 minutes, and we'll have their brains implode and see what happens, right? And I noticed something like almost 10 years ago. I've been doing hypnosis for 25 years now, considering my young age. Quite a long time. And I noticed something. Everybody was battling about doing the best story whatsoever, right? About why hypnosis should be done in this way, how to maintain a certain level because they needed whatever thing they needed for the kind of therapy they wanted. Trauma therapy should be on level 17 and all that nonsense. Trust me, it's nonsense. You're either in trance or you're not. That's basically it, all right? So the more we add on to it as things we need to know to make sure our client works, the less success we'll get. Because it's things we're adding to the equation that is not necessary. So if a client is, showing compliance, if they're answering, following instructions, you're pretty good to go. If their answers would be something like just things popping up, it's the unconscious answering. If they go, well, I think it might be in consideration, if I analyze it, it's going to be the conscious mind. So that means induction didn't work. So if we just take away all the misconceptions about what hypnosis is and what it isn't, and how to perform a good, solid trance, let's talk about something that is proved by science. What it really takes to get people there. So I want to ask you a couple of questions because this is interactive, right? I want you guys to participate in this lecture. Otherwise, it will be kind of boring because we're just talking about an induction, right? So what is the main reason that we induce people? Why do we do that? Somebody in the back. Oh, that is right out of textbook. Wrong. To bypass the critical factor. It will always be there, so get it to cooperate. That's my comment on that one. All right, we can't bypass it anyway. There's no way we can bypass it because in a term like this, what is the critical factor? That would be the conscious mind, being a little bit afraid of what's going to happen in a moment. What is the job of the conscious mind? To make sure we'll not be entangled in weird emotions that makes us vulnerable and something bad might happen. That is why we have a critical factor to make sure. Well, I'm going to make sure that I will notice all the dangers, and if I notice all the dangers, we can get the hell out of here. That is the critical factor. I'm not really sure this works. Well, making sure we will not step into that emotion that we don't know what is. That is the reason for it. What if we got it to cooperate? That is my comment on it. So that is not the reason why we do inductions. What is the reason? Why should we do inductions? It's convincer for you. So that your client has some sort of expectation and you're kind of providing that for them to cooperate, correct? What if we could do that way before the induction? Because them entering your office, is that not a convincer? Indeed. I know. So it's not either. It might be a little bit of a convincer, but it should be way more than that. But I'm going to make it simple in just a moment. Anyone else? If anyone dares right now, yeah?
Could the mind in the right
We're getting closer now. To put the mind into the right condition or state. And if Jason Lynette was here, he would say, does that work in Virginia too? Because right now we're in the state of Nevada. Right? So the right state is for them to be as optimized as possible for the session coming. Yeah? Somebody in the back?
I was going to say to create like an altered state of consciousness.
Altered state of consciousness. Well, it should be there all times, shouldn't it? So, but I know, it's all textbook answers. It's there all the time. Altered state. It's there all the time. If I put like an EEG device on my head right now, and you'll go, I know what kind of hertz within the brain waves is the same thing as being conscious. You still have delta waves. You still have theta waves. You still have like ultra waves. You have all of it at the same time. So the question is, where are you the most focused? That's the question.
Well, your internal experience is different at different times. I don't know about the brainwaves, but
Yeah, all the time. You're not just one solid brainwave. You have outbursts in every range of your brainwaves all the time. The question is where it's the most focused. That's the science. So to make it simple would be kind of interesting to just go, well, if you need to have like a deep relaxed trance, somnambulism level 2, you need almost to have people close to coma, deep theta state, maintain that state throughout the entire session. That will be impossible. Because people go like this all the time. So if you make the trance level a problem, it will become a problem on behalf of your client. If you focus on it, that means you're not focusing on the client within the session, because now you're focused on trance instead of, hey client, how you doing? Make sense? I know I'm probably going to step on some people's toes right now, but everything I will tell you would be based on how the brain actually functions and how the nervous systems process those signals throughout the body and back to the brain again. Make sense? Good.
I guess I just wanted to do a good report over.
Well, hey, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I'm not here to pat you on the shoulders and say, good job, everyone. I'm here to provoke you. I'm here to expand your minds, think differently, and make your own opinion when you leave. That's basically it. So here's the thing. What should be the real reason for doing an induction? Yeah.
To get the practitioner in trance with the client.
So to get the practitioner in trance with the client, let's flip that a little bit. You should be there before your client. So you're leading your client. You don't have to be there with them. You're already there when they join you in your office. You should. But that's a different discussion though. So here's my take on what induction really is. Induction is to make sure your client is in the most perfect state for change. That's basically it. So solved, we're done. See you later. Right? That's basically it. So, but how do we get them there? Okay, let's talk about the induction. World's fastest. Okay, let's join that competition, right? I've been part of that competition for many, many years. And we know there's a difference between being on stage, doing a stage show, a demo in front of a class, or actually teaching someone, and then also seeing that one client. So to understand how inductions actually do work, the world's fastest whatsoever would be if I asked all of you to think about a great memory you had in the past. Of course, everything is in the past. Something that made you happy. And immediately close your eyes and feel something from that situation. When you feel that within your body, that would take max tops 10 seconds. For most people, it would be 1.5, maybe 2 seconds. And that is everything included. Why does that work and not a hand drop? Why not the Elman? Why not Dr. Flowers? Why not those inductions? Because they might not even get the client to that state, to that resourceful moment. Because we talk about, let's put the client on the back of a dragon and fly through the forest and see the spirit guide on the mountain. Awesome if you like that kind of thing. If you want to go on that journey, awesome, cool. It's a guided visualization. Inductions are not a guided visualization. It's how to get your client there. So, from my perspective, when you look at schools, how they teach and all of that, they make too big a deal out of an induction. Basically, they do. And they do. And the reason for it is because, well, we think as a practitioner that if we fail the induction, we need to know a couple of more, otherwise our client will not be there. So we're kind of like making everything too complicated. Because if one doesn't work, well, that means if we go to the next one, well, we have less authority now because they know we failed, right? It is like that. And if we make it too difficult, too advanced, too storytelling-wise, with no personal optimizational resources within it, it's not going to happen anyway. You can talk to your client for hours and be the greatest inducer, telling all the greatest stories, but if they're not there, how could they change? So it's all about creating the most optimal, resourceful state on behalf of the client so they will change automatically. And you might think, oh, that's going to be so difficult because how would we do that? Because we need to know the client, right? We need to analyze them. And here we go. Somebody might go, well, you need to know if they're visual, kinesthetic, or auditive because you need to adapt your language. No, you don't. We all of it. Okay? So again, if you spend time with your client thinking, oh, are they mostly kinesthetic, then I should do all the touchy words and stuff like that. Well, you are narrowing down the options on behalf of your client. You're limiting your client by only using kinesthetic language. So here's a way I would phrase something, just to open up the world of, senses. Let's say we want someone to imagine something. Okay? Let's say we move people back to a past memory that was good and awesome, maybe just neutral, but maybe a little bit happy. We could go, what is the first image you see? That's all visual, right? And that is the greatest misconception in the world of hypnosis. Everybody's talking about being able to visualize. Well, if you don't have an emotion, if you don't have a state, if you're not connected within your body, there's no way your brain is going to create a picture, an image. No way. So we kind of like taking the more advanced, more difficult route to get the result instead of just going through emotions or states or things people know. So instead of going or just aiming for that image, I would do something different. So in that past memory, what is the first thing you notice? It might just be something you know. It might be an image. It might be something you feel right now. So what is the change that you notice now? So what just happened? What just happened? I used different sources of senses. I connected them. I opened it up. And I was talking about something in the past, but I rephrased that to being into the now, and I went through the body to get a response from the brain and then allow it to actually speak with the body once again. It makes a difference. Because people, if they get the chance to think on a conscious level, think it through, analyze it, being able to pick the best situation they think is the best one for this situation because they want to please you as a therapist. That means we just started something that really shouldn't be happening because they think they need to have some good level of performance to be able to accommodate us into our questions and the things we want to help our client with. That means we just started off the wrong foot. Not a good thing, is it? So what about just cherish that state, that memory, whatever it is? We can get so many pieces of information very, very fast. So what happens? Go back to that idea of think about a memory from your past that makes you at least happy or maybe just neutral. If you all close your eyes in a moment, because people do it right away, when I say go, I want you to close your eyes. Think of a memory, something that just pops up because we already primed your unconscious now. When you got that memory, step into it and feel the change within your body. And when you feel that change, or just feel something, and just to help you a little bit, some people go, I just totally felt nothing immediately. That is a change. Because imagine how much stuff you can put in there that's good if you feel nothing right now. That is a change. So everything is a change. So what I wanted to do when I say go, right? I want you to think about that memory, everything that pops up, step into it, and feel the change within the body. When you feel a change, just raise your hand like this. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, go. We already got the first hands. Here we go. 4, 5, 6 seconds. Getting closer. All right, it's all good for me. Most people are there within 10 seconds. Awesome. That is a regular, status of what you get when you get 10 random clients, 100 random clients. Some people need to get there a little bit faster. Somebody needs some more time to adapt. Some people need to be guided a little bit more. But this was 10 seconds. And 85% of the room went like this. That is pretty fast, isn't it? Because that state helps us doing something in just a moment. So just a couple of words. Those who raised their hand, how did you feel different within those few seconds? Let me know. Just a few of you. Yes?
I felt excited.
Excited. Is that resourceful when we're considering we're just about to do a session? Excited client? Good. Anyone else?
I felt loved and uplifted.
Love and uplifted. Wow, within seconds. How fast is that, huh? Yeah?
It's also same as both, but it's also a great way to remind people that there are resources.
There are resources. Yeah. But we don't have to convince them now because it's already there. So what's happening? So to accommodate everything you actually mentioned, all of you, as the reason why we do inductions, everything that just happened right now with your comments or what you just experienced from that past situation, that accommodated everything you were talking about in the beginning. You know, bypassing the critical factor. Let's stay with that idea. So when you enter uplifted and love as a resource within your body, where's the critical factor now? True, it's cooperation now. It's kind of like, oh, this is nice, right? And everything you felt is something that gives you a resource. And it's multiple senses at the same time. It cannot be anything but that. It's impossible. You cannot just be visual. Cannot just be kinesthetic. So speak the universal language of everything. When I first began doing inductions, or hypnosis 25 years ago. Oh my God, I loved my book on hypnosis. And I thought if I just misspelled or mispronounced or forgot just a single word within the script I had, it wouldn't work. That was the adult me when I started. 18 years old. So excited. But way before that, when I was 7, I actually went to the library and I borrowed the first book I ever had on hypnosis. Because I saw a stage hypnotist at my school. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be like that guy and take over the world. Right? Because I was a kid, 7 years old. And I got the book, and I was waiting and looking for all those images of where to do the secret touches. Where to poke that person so they will collapse right there. Because I've seen that stage hypnotist do it, right? Just went over to people like, sleep. And they were gone. Like, oh, wow, 3 fingers, 2, how many fingers? I wanted to know. Where exactly on the shoulder? Was it a pinch or push? I want to know. There was no freaking pictures. There was nothing in that book. Only words and stories and, you know, all of that. Scripts, really. And I didn't get it. Luckily, I didn't get it. Because I didn't understand the language within it. But when I actually picked it up again when I was 18, I was doing the same thing, looking for that secret answer, how to do it. So instead of actually understanding the process that I'm about to teach you, I just read the scripts. And I believe that if my client wasn't there was 2 options why it didn't happen. 1, I forgot about something within my script on how to induce them. That single word must mean everything because professors been writing that shit. All their life, right? So it must mean something. Or the other one that a lot of teachers actually told me way back, well, if the client ain't there, it's because they're not ready yet, so just send them home. Like, what? I believed in that. I still hear it once in a while. Some clients aren't ready. No, you aren't ready. That's it. That's basically it. Clients are always ready. They came. It's in your office right now. It's happening. So if nothing really takes them anywhere, it's because you lack skills. That's basically it. So when I finally realized it's more than that. It's not just about the words. It's not just about getting them to be somewhere. I actually want to add another. How many people know Steve Rame? Steve Rame, a few of you do. He's a good friend of mine. He's an expert on conversational hypnosis. He used to be a trainer with me way back in Igor's school. When Igor didn't want to teach people, we did it. And kind of interesting. But he told me a story that I kind of want to refer to every time we talk about hypnosis, because he had a client calling him up in Tennessee where he lives, saying, hey, I would like a session. And he's like, okay, have you ever been hypnotized before? Oh yeah, a couple of times, so yeah, let's meet up. Client came to his office and he said, so you mentioned you've been hypnotized a couple of times before. What happened? And the client went, well, I don't think I went past the induction. It was kind of soothing and relaxing, but nothing really happened. And he's like, okay, for how many times? And he said, for the past 7 years. Like, oh, like once a year? No, several times a month. So it was soothing and relaxing, and he felt a little bit less stressed every time. That is not hypnosis. You could just put on some country and western on the radio, and you can listen to that, and you will get the same result, right? So Steve was kind of curious about that, so he asked the client, so what did the hypnotist do? How did you set it up? Because now he's curious, right? How could it not happen for that many years? Well, he said, well, all the time the hypnotist asked me, where do you feel the most relaxed? And he would say, well, in my garage I got a wood shop, and I got some windows to the pine forest, and I stand there at least a couple of hours every day working on wood, doing stuff, building stuff, and I love it. And I'm like, whoa, imagine the world of suggestions you can do right now, metaphors. He's standing in a wood shop in his garage, looking at the pine trees, just working. That's a gift. And he would talk about that, but the hypnotist said, no. It has to be either the field of flowers, the beach, or the cottage. I'm like, okay. And that is the referral story I want to use every time, that is really limiting your client, right? Because that might build rapport, that might make them feel a little bit more relaxed. It might create a state of creativity, of positive resources. It might, because they can relate to a field of flowers. Maybe the beach, maybe the cottage, way down there or up there, I don't know, right? But what happened if that hypnotist actually said, let's go to your wood shop. What's happening? You're standing there looking at the trees, and you just work your way through that piece of wood right now. What's happening on the inside? Boom, they're right there. Within seconds. Because it's a great memory, it's something they know, it's something that makes them feel more resourceful. And what's happening while they've been working on that piece of wood right there? Trance this fast. The most optimal, resourceful state whatsoever. So trust me, guys, all those books on the perfect induction you have back home, don't throw it out, put it on a shelf and leave it there. Everything that is the words that is explaining it, that's all good though, because that's inspiration, how to construct sentences. That I love, for a couple of years I did something called script killing hypnosis, and that was kind of fun, and the attention it got was pretty amazing. And then a few years later, Jason and Scott Sandlin, they made something, let's go back to the scripts. Let's talk about it. Right? It's interesting though. But here's the thing about all the scripts that we have. They're not the Bible of how to do hypnosis. That's inspiration. Don't do it with a client because they might not relate to it, because most of the stuff that's in there is not a personal relationship within the client. It doesn't relate to anything they might experience in the past. There might be some words they do understand, but let's talk about understanding words. If you put a word in the mind of a client, do they know what you really mean with that word? Some people are nodding their head. How could they? So here's a cliche I always use when I teach. I see a client and they go, I just feel like an elephant in the backyard being trapped. And you go, oh yeah, I know what that means. Do you? What does it mean? An elephant trapped in a backyard. What does it mean? Some people might have an idea. Is it because you're a good listener? Are you a little bit too nosy? Are you making deep imprints? Are you thick-skinned, right? Every time you move, you're a bit clumsy, so you need to be careful. Well, I can continue for hours of analyzing that. So the question is not how you see it or what you think it is. If a client says a word like, I just want to feel free, don't go, oh yeah, I know what that feels like. Awesome, let's go free. And now you have all your references from your life, adding that to the client's experience, but has nothing to do with the client. So there's only one true way of doing it. Free, that sounds awesome. How does that make you feel? Now they start explaining how that feels. And when they know how that feels, you will go, and what does that really mean to you? What is the positive intention behind you feeling free? and we can chunk it up to something freaking amazing. All right? So let's not do those stories. They're nice. It's good for audio. Let's sell some MP3s with some scripted stuff on it. It's awesome. Let's use that as a booster on behalf of the client. Give them, something on the way back home. Here's a couple of audio. I want you to listen to that when you get back home, just to listen to it a little bit, to recreate the state and shoot them off into whatever realm they want to be at, where they feel the most resourceful. That's good, but they're not more powerful than a piece of music. Or listening, not watching, but listening to a movie that you kind of just switched on after a long day of work. You're just sitting there on the couch, kind of like dozing off, and it was such a great romantic movie. Oh yeah, what was it about? Two people, can't remember, but it was nice. So it triggered something, didn't it? All that is good. So let's narrow everything down. Inductions are there to create the most resourceful state on behalf of the client, because when they're in that state, they're in trance. There's no way it cannot happen. When they're in trance, we can change stuff. They know stuff. The conscious mind won't interfere. It might have some questions. Good enough, because I'll always treat the conscious mind as a fellow and as somebody who helps the client throughout the session. I know some people go, well, we really need to, back to you, we really need to bypass that critical factor, right? You really need to put that conscious mind in the corner and say, don't turn around, stay there, right? Behave. No, what about giving it something to do? Hey, conscious mind, every time you feel a little bit, what's going on, I would just want you to take a deep breath and feel how that feels. That is your most important job right now. What do you think the conscious mind would do from now on? Oh, I don't know what this is. Oh, that feels kind of good. Forgetting about it, 5 minutes later, that feels a little bit tricky. Here we go again, nice. So now we got the conscious mind being occupied. And everything that the conscious mind will experience from now on would be with a 2-second delay from the reality that we have communicating with the unconscious mind. Freaking awesome. So it's listening now, and when it's listening, it means the change already happened. So it adapts everything. It doesn't question it. We don't ask for permission. Hey, conscious mind, would it be okay if me and unconscious made this change? No, I don't feel like doing that, right? That's basically what happens if we ask the conscious mind. So let's go straight to that unconscious. Create that state. Because how many things can the conscious mind focus on at a time? Yeah. No, that's a different thing. It can only focus on one thing at a time. But how many things can be up in the air, juggling? Like I could switch my focus. 5 to 9, basically. That's what most people kind of like get down to. But it depends on your state right now, your condition, your daily condition. A little bit stressed, not feeling well? Probably it's only going to be 5. Are you feeling on top of your game? Mentally prepared? It might be 9 things. And I heard a TED Talk recently that was pretty amazing, I think, because now we have the conversation of, can females really multitask? Can they? Because they go, hey, we can multitask. Men, you can't do anything, right? Basically, no, you can't. No, you can't. But if you look at the structure, the genetics within the brain, something interesting pops up, because we have to go all the way back before we had something like this, when we just walked the earth barefooted, chasing mammoth, like, hey, get back here, we need some food, right? What were the jobs we had as a species trying to survive? What did men do? Walk for miles, for weeks to find that prey and hopefully kill it. Some people would die, right? But we got some food back home, and then we were totally exhausted. We just needed to lie down there and just relax for a couple of weeks and then get back into the big world and see what we can find of prey the next time. What did females do? Yeah. So they had to multitask. They had to do different other things because that was on a daily basis. So if we consider female brains like purses or handbags, right? Every state, every personality, everything you have to do, every behavior has its own personal little handbag. And men in this room, if you ever looked into a purse of a female, it's pretty messy in most cases, right? So it looks chaotic, but they know where everything is. We can't cope with that. It's kind of, what? Why do you need a bicycle? Right? They have everything in there because they're prepared, because they never know what's going to happen in 2 minutes. And when they are being, if you promote something new, a new idea to a female, all the persons need to, react to it. Make some sort of, we agree, we all agree now. Then it's okay. If there's a disturbance in the force, nothing will happen except them feeling a little bit, they wanted to create a riot or not, agree with you. And that's okay. That's basically what it is. Men, we are so simple and stupid. Honestly, we are. So let's say females are more like in the cloud. Awesome, you can connect with everything. You think fast because that's how you genetically are designed. Men, it's more like a linear thing with boxes on it, right? And there's one box, the biggest box would be within the first 3 boxes. We can only be in one box at a time. The biggest box, what do you think it contains? What is the most important thing for a man? Sex. Oh, wait, here we go. What happens in Vegas goes on YouTube. Yeah. All right. Sorry? Tools. Okay. Good ideas. But here it comes. Are you ready? Females, you will go, I told you. And men, you go, don't reveal it. The answer is nothing. It's true. We have to be in the box of nothing as often as possible to make a stance, to feel relaxed, to make decisions, because that is where we feel, do we have hunger? Do we need to fornicate? Do we need to travel and find some prey? What happens? We can't be in more boxes at the same time. Impossible. So that biggest box of nothing is why men can't multitask, because the switching within the brain will take a couple of minutes sometimes. If you're fast, a couple of seconds. Females, the cloud, it works all the time. So you can go, oh yeah, that needs to go over there. I said yellow, shut up! Yeah, over there. That's basically it, right? It all happens at the same time. Cool, because of the genetics. Does that make an impact on how we think when we do inductions? You should think, right? Because now we're back to what sort of person are you? Analytical? Do you use your imagination? Visualize? Kinesthetic? Auditive? Gustatory? Olfactory? Some people are only that, they think. If I have this scent, I can't work, I can't function. Well, that's your brain shutting down, so I wonder what happened. Let's talk about traumas now, right? So it's all about creating this state. So let's bypass, not the critical factor, get it to cooperate, breathe, right? But let's talk about creating this state. The resourceful, creative, optimized, prime model of the client by doing something very, very simple. And you might think you need to know a couple of things, a lot of things about the client to be able to create this. You don't. The induction I'm about to show you, I can do that on an entire group. And when I guide the entire group, all of them think like, oh, you were right there with me because you used my language. This is so easy because I don't need to know anything. I can just stick with basic things that everybody understands. What kind of basic things does everyone understand in whatever situation you might think of? What's present? Air. Light or the lack of light. Temperature. Whatever the client sees will be everything you see. You'll think, oh, how did you know? Well, because you're seeing it right now, and I just mentioned you seeing something. So on that level, they're not analytical anymore. They just cope with it, understand it. So I want to show you how I do it. Basically, to begin with, it's all about creating or starting up all the senses in a really easy way. Because if you're conditioning your client to a resourceful moment, changing everything to present time, and they're speaking from their body because they feel it right now, do we need to do progressive relaxation? If we do, it's going to be very little. Okay? So that could be upper body, lower body, done. Could be 8 waves, a deep breath, whatever you feel like. Okay? And then go straight into whatever we need to do. So I want to show you, because we also we start up the imagination meanwhile. Here's the thing, good thing I mentioned that. So if I did a drawing, let's do this. I want all of you to look at that weird piece of thing on the wall right there. It is a light. Some people know it's a lamp. Do you know how much it cost? No, I don't. I don't want to know. If you look at that, all those triangle shapes, all the different other shapes there would be, all the shadows on the wall, I want all of you to look at that for just a brief moment. And I want you to defocus. And I want you to allow your brain to come up with something. So if you see something that is not really part of it, something abstract that turns into an icon, to a symbol, to an image, to something like that, just look at it and be creative. When you see something that your brain goes, oh, it looks like, and then whatever it is, raise your hand. Just do, oh, wow, here we go. Okay, so within seconds, you all got it. My question right now is, were you hypnotized? No, people go, well, not really. Well, we feel relaxed. Here's the thing. To be able to do this, to kickstart your imagination, do you need to be in trance or in no trance? You didn't feel deep, did you? So if I talk about 8 hertz, brainwave-wise, this is a study from a university in England. When you actually sit there in a creative process, using your imagination, and I don't care if it comes from reference or intuition or whatever you pick up that is not here and is here, all of that, when you're in that state, most likely 90-some% of the time you're going to be around 8 hertz in the most dominant brainwave within your mind. 8 hertz. And if you all know the levels, how deep is 8 hertz? Top of theta, low alpha, they overlap a little bit. So it's just around that area, right? But that would be scientifically a proof of trance. You all just went there, but you didn't know because you saw something abstract and it turned into an image, a symbol. So don't tell me that your clients needs time to do the same thing. So when we kickstart the imagination within the induction, we know for sure they just broke the barrier of being way too conscious. So let's utilize that in the induction too. So what does CERI stand for? Conversational, emotional, resourceful induction. I love words and letters. So I always make it up to have fun with it. Yeah? My coach training has nothing to do with coaching, everything beyond. I just love the word, and people go like, coaching is not that important, is it? I love it. It's fun. So the question is right now, who wants an experience? The fastest one, always the fastest one. Always the fastest one. Guinea pig. And by the way, as I'm doing this, if you all want this video, and I got some PDF handouts, let me know. I'm just going to push this around. Yeah, hey. Yeah. We all professionals, right, Jason? I learned from the best.
Yes, you did.
So here's the thing. Okay. Any therapist in the room? We need help in the one right? Okay. Go check out the next room. That's fun. So before we do anything that has to do with hypnosis, let's have some fun.
Sure.
Would that be okay with
Absolutely.
you? Do you just sit in a way where you feel the most relaxed. And as I told you, before we do anything, we'll have some fun. Just close your eyes for a brief moment. And while you're closing your eyes right now, I just want you to think about something from the past that made you happy, at least neutral. The first moment that pops up, nothing you kind of look for, but something that just pops up. There we go. Perfect. And before we go anywhere, I just want you to, just with a couple of words, try and explain to me what kind of situation that is.
It was in the exercise I did yesterday during Kelly and Karen's workshop.
Perfect. So keep your eyes shut. So in the exercise yesterday, how did that feel?
It was a whole host of emotions, but it was wonderful. It was very opening.
How do you know? Where did you feel it?
All across my chest.
Where exactly? If you point right now, where you feel it right now, where is it? Right there. Awesome. What kind of image pops up in your mind when you feel that and think about that situation that happened yesterday, but you feel right now? What kind of image pops up?
It's just a bright white light.
Awesome. Bright white light. So feeling all that, seeing all that bright white light, what is the first sound you notice that kind of like empowers everything?
Just a low hum.
Just a low hum. Just pay attention to that right now as you see the white light and you feel all of that in your chest, maybe even growing, who knows? There's the hum, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
If this was a scent to empower all of this even more and make you feel even more relaxed, what kind of scent would that be that relates to everything you just told me?
Roses popped up for some reason.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So if you have the scent of roses right now, there's even more white light. That hum is more significant, and you feel even more in your chest, maybe in your entire body right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If this was a taste, the taste of all of this that would frame everything, what kind of taste would that be? So you see even more, feel even more, hear even more, sense even more. What kind of taste is it?
It's sweet.
It is sweet, isn't it?
Mm.
You didn't expect that, did you?
Mm-mm.
No. That means it's true. And as you're there right now, feeling, seeing, sensing, smelling, and tasting everything, I want you to notice something new that you haven't paid attention to before, that kind of like frames it even more, but expands everything even more. Something that might come from imagination, intuition, whatever it is. What pops up right now that you never noticed before?
Just a tingling on the tops of my legs.
Tingling on the top of your leg. That's amazing, isn't it? Allow that to grow right now. And as you're there right now in that exercise, through that white light, that sweet taste, that sensation in your chest throughout your entire body right now, I want you to think about if there's anything within your body at this very moment that needs to relax just a little bit more. It will just adjust as it just did, automatically. How did you know how to do that? Because you're awesome already. That's good. Unconsciously, you're just a step ahead of me. That's perfect. And just take that deep breath in a moment, allowing your body to let you know, there we go, perfect. And just let it all go. And if you're conscious, feels like, oh, there's something I need to pay attention to, it will take that another deep breath and allow you to go even deeper, even further into that experience, and all those senses expands even more. Now, how does that feel? It does feel amazing, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's all you. So let's just stick with that for a little bit. Keep your eyes closed, and let's do a marker right here. That's basically the induction. Is she resourceful right now? Yeah. And you should suppose, well, within these couple of minutes, there's no way we can do any good work, right? Because that's not time enough. Now, you're unconscious. I'm just playing now. Your unconscious wants to help out, wants to give you something, appreciation, maybe even knowledge, maybe a great experience. So something that you want to let go of, your body just want to do it on behalf of you. So in a short while, it just suddenly happens. Maybe a hand will let something go, maybe a deep breath suddenly happens, but would be different than the other ones. That is your body, your unconscious, letting all of that go so you can be you, finally. There we go. And now new resources emerge right in front of you. Something new that you haven't thought about before. So if I put up a mirror in front of you before this session, you probably had a couple of ideas and thoughts that would be a little bit limiting once in a while. Something that you wouldn't just make you smile immediately. But now something new happens. Feeling all that within your entire body. That sound of the hum, that white light, that taste of sweetness, that everything creates resources right there in front of you. Something that's been hiding underneath the surface for a while. And you'll just feel that right now. There we go. And if I would put a mirror up in front of you, you might know how it felt in the past, but now something new happens. Try not to smile because that one, yeah, there we go. That person you see right there in the mirror, you notice new things, new ideas. That's a new person, isn't it? And on top of your mind, maybe one, maybe two, maybe three words will pop up that you never thought about before when you watched yourself in the mirror or whatever kind of reflection. Every time you thought about yourself, you never thought about this, but that is even more resourceful. What are those words that pops up right now?
Confident,
Confident,
bold,
bold,
open.
open. Wow. So I want you to pay attention to that image, to that person in front of you. Because in a very short while, you will count yourself up. 1 to 5, that's good enough. And on the count of 4 within your inner mind, your body wants to show you even more appreciation. There'll be a smile confirming everything that just happened is real and the change has happened. There's no going back whatsoever, only growing even more. And I want you on that count of 5, when you open your eyes, I want you to try and hold that smile back because it will happen. If not right away, but when you look me into the eyes, there it goes. It just fires off like a cannon. And it feels amazing. Bold, open, and confident in your own time. And try and hold that smile back, please. Please try. Do your best. That's right. Here we go. How do you feel right now?
Floating in a cloud. Hello.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So some might ask the question right now, so when are we going to do the hypnosis? Because you said, well, just close your eyes before we do anything that has to do with hypnosis, just for a brief moment. That was the brief moment. How resourceful do you feel right now?
Very resourceful. And it's interesting because if you allow it, things just start. You just have to say, feel that, what's coming up.
Exactly.
It's just right there.
Did I add anything to her experience? I just repeated stuff, allowed it to grow. Did I mention all of her senses? Did I emphasize that, empower that? Oh, well, she did. I just allowed her, right? Did her imagination pop up in the middle of it? Yeah. How did that it didn't put a lid on it, it just made everything explode even more, right? That's why you feel like that. So we can do whatever we want right now within a session. That should be an induction, in my perspective. No storytelling, no nothing. Because she's still like, hey, defense is down, hands down. Oh, it's not hypnosis yet? Let's do the fun part and see what happens. So she's all good to go. If I said, well, now it's time to see if you can go into trance and do the hypnosis part. You go, oh no, I'm not. What is that, right? She just automatically, in the most natural way, went there within minutes, being probably way more resourceful than most clients you ever seen with this short amount of time, unless they're really ready. That is the difference. That is how I want you to think about inductions in the future and think about what is really necessary. Were there any performance anxiety? Did you feel safe all the way through?
Absolutely.
Did you feel guided but I was there with you?
Yep, very secure.
Did you feel me being there with you in your memory?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was just...
also heard some things out here. It felt very close to me, like almost someone was right here. Yeah.
I was right here.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But when I pull my earlobe, you will start barking because that's the part I didn't tell you about. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, I hope you get the idea. That is not about the story. It's not about the script. It's not about what we think we have to do to soothe our client and make them feel more comfortable. No, the comfort comes from within. They have everything you need as a professional to make sure they will create change right now. And if you think about it, just that little teeny tiny thing I did with her about the new resources popping up and her looking into the mirror, watching herself in a different way than she have done in the past, that would be a very successful session for most people, considering they might have been doing like 60 or 90 minutes as an outcome. It could only happen because she was already there. Here's the thing. What's your name again?
Paulette.
Paulette. in a moment, I'm just going to show you my palm of my hand. Consider that a mirror. And I want you to try avoid all the new feelings and senses you actually do get. Right? And there might even be a new resource popping up, because that will happen every single time for the rest of your life, because it's right there. What's the resource? First thing that pops up right now. And here's an interesting thing, because you went, safety? Like, I didn't even believe in that. Is that a new strong word? Did you ever believe in your own safety? Like that?
Not like that.
So how do you feel that safety right now?
Overall feeling of
Makes you even more open, right? And confident. Yeah. All right. That's all. If you want any more information, I'm going to be right there in the back. So thank you all for watching and listening. I hope you got some good insights. Take care, everyone. Thank you.